It's Julian Castro for the Democrats up against Mike Garcia for the Republicans. Today on Political Excess, we're going to play out this hypothetical 2024 presidential matchup. This was another one suggested to me in the comments. I thought it was a good one, but it's a difficult one. I think both of these candidates are well known within politics, but outside of politics, on a national level, these two would have low name recognition. So in this scenario, I'm going to assume they raise their profile enough to run a national campaign. And we'll talk more about this at the end. But a little bit of quick background, Julian Castro, he was the mayor of San Antonio. He ran for president in 2020. He dropped out, endorsed Elizabeth Warren. Mike Garcia, he serves in the U.S. House from California. He's in Santa Clarita, that's northwestern L.A. County, and that is a competitive district. So let's try to go through the states really quickly. And let's start in Alaska. That'll be safe for Mike Garcia. Hawaii will be safe for Castro. Back up to the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, and California. That's Mike Garcia's home state. I think they will all be over 10 points, still safe for Castro. Could Mike Garcia cut into the margin in California? Yeah, probably. He might not lose it by 25 points, but that's not saying a whole lot. Let's go to Nevada. This is a competitive purplish state, and in this matchup, I have it as a tilt for Mike Garcia. Idaho and Utah safe for Garcia. How about Arizona, another purplish type of swing state? And this I also have as a tilt for Mike Garcia. Montana, Wyoming, safe for Garcia. Colorado, likely for Castro. New Mexico, leans for Castro. North Dakota, South Dakota, safe for Garcia. Nebraska at large, safe for Garcia. The second district, that's more competitive. It has trended toward the Democrats, and I have it as a tilt for Castro. Kansas and Oklahoma, safe for Garcia. How about in Texas? This would be Julian Castro's home state. But in this particular matchup, I think it would kind of be a wash, and it would still be a likely for Mike Garcia. Let's go up to Minnesota, and this will be about 5 to 6 points likely for Castro. Iowa, this will be over 5 points, likely for Garcia. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, solid red states, safe for Garcia. How about Wisconsin? That is a close one, and that'll be a tilt for Mike Garcia. Illinois, that'll be low double digits, safe for Castro. Michigan, another very close call for me. I have it as a tilt for Castro. Indiana, safe for Garcia. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Again, these are very red states, and they're going to be safe for Garcia. Let's go down to Florida. This will be likely for Mike Garcia. I think Julian Castro would probably be branded as a socialist. We know that doesn't play well, especially in South Florida, so Garcia wins that by over 5. How about Georgia? This is another state that's trended away from the Republicans. In this matchup, I think they might be able to get over the finish line, but it could go either way. I have it as a tilt for Garcia. South Carolina, safe for Garcia. North Carolina, leans for Garcia. Let's jump up to Ohio. This will be likely for Mike Garcia. West Virginia, very safe for Mike Garcia. Now let's go up to the northeast corner into Maine. At large, this will be likely for Julian Castro. The first district is much bluer, and that's safe for Castro. The second district, that will be likely for Mike Garcia. How about New Hampshire? Another tough state for me. I ended up going with a tilt for Julian Castro. Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. These are all deep blue states. I don't think they would get under 10, and they are safe for Julian Castro. Let's go to Pennsylvania, yet another state where I was really on the fence, and I settled on a tilt for Julian Castro. And finally, the last state is Virginia. This state has become kind of a lost cause for the Republicans on a national level, and in this matchup I have it as a likely for Castro. And there's your map, 278 for Mike Garcia, 260 for Julian Castro. So Garcia wins it, but it's a close one, and this was probably one of my most difficult matchups, but not because it's so hypothetical, just because I actually think it's an even matchup. I think both of these candidates would be acceptable. I think they would both do reasonably well with their base. I think they would both be competitive with independents, with swing voters in the suburbs, with the working class and the Rust Belt, with different demographic groups across the country. It's really hard for me to say. Castro would probably get enough crossover support from progressives and the establishment. Similarly, Garcia would probably get enough support from the Trump voters and his establishment. And that's why I have a lot of states here that are tilts: Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, Michigan, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire. I'm sure that's the most tilts I've ever had, and I view it as a coin flip, and I always make a decision. I don't want to leave them as toss-ups because that's not really any fun. But you could probably convince me Mike Garcia could lose this, or you could convince me that he could win it by a larger margin. Sure, it all depends on their running mate. I'm sure it depends on the national environment. I'm sure it depends on which issues these candidates would actually run on. I think they would have some sort of populist appeal. Castro is definitely going to be stronger on economics. He's going to go into the Rust Belt in Michigan and Pennsylvania. He's going to talk about kitchen table issues and health care and wages. Mike Garcia, I'm sure he's going to hit up immigration and crime and education. And if they were actually running, I'm sure they would actually fine-tune their current positions. It's easy to go back 2 or 4 or 6 years and see what they said, but who knows how that would hold up in the future. And also with these candidates, they're both close to the same age. I think they have acceptable levels of charisma. Mike Garcia might have a slight edge on that category, but I think Castro would probably do well enough. And they're both from opposing red and blue states of California and Texas. And I think Mike Garcia would cut into the margin more in California than Castro would the margin in Texas. Of course, California would still be way over 10 points, but I don't think Castro would really get it under 5 points in Texas. One of these margins are borderline, like New Mexico. That could go likely, possibly. The suburbs around Atlanta and Las Vegas, those are crucial areas. And again, I think they would be up for grabs. So I'll leave it there, but this is just what I think. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this particular matchup? Which states would you change? How would your map look? Let me know down below in the comments. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next video.